Oh, la 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 la. Wee. So, welcome back to solo episode number 10. I'm ripping a little vocal exercises because most of my life I've had a serious issue with mumbling. I remember I used to come home from school and I would sit down for like dinner with my family and they would ask me something like, "Oh, how'd your day go?" And I'd be like, and then I talk for 30 seconds about my day, and everyone in my family would just be looking at me like, "We have no idea what you said," which is so ironic now because I'm starting a podcast and I'm literally loving it. I'm loving every second of it. A lot of people are telling me I'm good at it, but I know that my voice, that I naturally slur and I naturally mumble, and that like my voice is really not built for podcasting. But I hope that in a way, by being someone who mumbles, being someone who repeats words and makes vocal mistakes, I'm hoping that the average person, the listener, can actually like relate to me more. Whereas if I'm listening to someone who just has perfect speech, it might be very appealing to my ears, but I might not relate to that person. Whereas I hope a lot of people hear the flaws in my voice and it feels relatable. Anyways, into the topic of this episode, which is how to measure success for creative work. I think this is such a big issue in our current age. There is so many industries that cover creative work. For example, I would say podcasting, I would say painting, sculpting, making videos, making TikToks, being an actor. I mean, almost every field of the modern world involves creativity. Now, I think the creative field really needs to redefine success. And so let me introduce you to this is kind of what I built out for this podcast. There's 3 bad, very common metrics for success, and there's 3 good, very uncommon metrics for success. So I'll quickly run through those so you know what we're talking about today. The 3 bad, uncommon metrics for success are money made, views, likes, streams, etc., societal acceptance / approval. So number 1, money made. Number 2, views, likes, streams, etc. Number 3, societal acceptance / approval. Now, counter that with the 3 good, uncommon metrics for success, which I'm going to make an argument to where you should put your success in, especially for creative work, is number 1, enjoyed the process. Number 2, made me feel something. And number 3, aligns with my values. So I want to start with how social media influences bad metrics for success. So back in the day, if you were someone who made movies, or even if you were a painter, you pretty much, I don't want to use a movie example, I'll use a painting. If you were an artist before social media time and you're a painter, you pretty much did it because you loved it. You weren't going to throw it on TikTok and then validate how good that painting was by the views, the likes, the comments, etc. But now, because of social media, we have been trained that you should measure your success based on views, likes, streams, etc. That's why, and even if you just take like, how did TikTok blow up so much faster than Instagram or YouTube or these other social media platforms? Why was TikTok the fastest growing social media ever? And it's literally instant gratification. That's the answer. There was no platform before TikTok where you could go on it and just be famous the next day. Almost everyone had to work for it, with very rare circumstances where one video would go viral. TikTok, any random person can get on it and they can be the next hottest thing tomorrow. And that trains people to measure success based on views, likes, streams, etc. Now, the other measure for success that goes beyond creative work, it goes beyond YouTube, is money made. Since the dawn of time to now, This goes for YouTubers, podcasters, people like me on social media. This goes for my parents. This goes for people who work any kind of job. Is they find success in the money made. They go, I am successful because I made X amount of money. And that is okay, I would say. It's okay, but the issue is money doesn't buy you happiness. I know it's cliche, and I kind of like the way Kanye put it. Kanye has a song called The Good Life, and he in the song he says, he raps, having money isn't everything, not having it is. I thought that was such a good way to put it, because you see so many people who make a ton of money and they're just simply not happy. You see people who make a ton of money and commit suicide. You see people make a ton of money are depressed. You see people all the time do this, and it doesn't fulfill them. But I like the way he said it is, having money isn't everything, but not having it is. So when people are broke, money is kind of the only thing that they can think about. And it does feel like it controls your world. But I will say, I will give my abundant mindset speech right here, where it's like, I used to be the type of person where if I went to lunch, I would worry about like, oh, let me get the cheaper one that's $5 cheaper than a lunch I'd want more. Or let me not get a coffee with my friends because I don't want to spend on little purchases that add up. But when you do that, you're subconsciously training yourself that you are the type of person who worries about $10. You are like reinforcing this story in your head that you will be poor. Now, I don't want to go too down the abundance mindset because that's a whole different conversation. But I think the more important metric here is that you don't want to find success in money. If you measure your success by your money, you will always be disappointed, one, and two, it's never enough. There's billionaires who still want to make more money. There's millionaires who want more money. I have 2 friends that I met in the past week who both quit their jobs making a ton of money, and they live in their car, not even a van. They literally put their back seats down and sleep in their car every night. And both of these people tell me they are happier than they have ever been. They stopped measuring success by money, and they are happier than they have ever been. So that leads us to the last uncommon metric for success, which is societal acceptance. I remember when I first started YouTube, my biggest motivation was like proving people wrong. I knew that like a lot of people found my videos cringy. I knew that a lot of people didn't believe I would make it. And I would like, before hitting upload, before editing, before going to the gym, I would be like daydreaming about the day where the girl I used to like saw my YouTube channel with 1 million subscribers, or my parents seeing my YouTube channel with 1 million subscribers, or friends that bullied me seeing my channel with 1 million subscribers. But that, in the moment, it worked. Like it motivated me. But the truth is, I'm so happy I didn't get success that way, because it never would have filled the hole. The hole, when you are trying to get approval from your parents, or you're trying to get societal acceptance from friends and people, girls you liked, whatever, then the hole is it's not proving them wrong. It's a hole inside yourself. You subconsciously aren't good enough, and you think that proving these people wrong will make you feel good enough, and it won't. I wish I could prove it to you, other than just go talk to people who have done it, and they will tell you it just doesn't fill the hole. So those are the 3 bad common metrics for success. How do you replace those with good common metrics for success? And the 3 I want to talk about are: enjoyed the process, made me feel something, and aligns with my values. So let me explain that. When you do creative work, your success should always come from within. So all the bad metrics I listed are not in your control. They're on the outside. So let's say, for example, I post this podcast. I don't know if I'm successful yet if I'm using the bad metrics for success, because I got to wait and see 1, how much money did I make? 2, how many views and streams did the podcast get? 3, did my friends like it? Did my parents like it? Did I get praise for it? So by the time I've posted the podcast, if my success is in those bad metrics, then I haven't even got to experience, I don't know if I'm successful yet. I've already made the complete podcast. There's nothing I can go to redo in the podcast. I can't go change it. I already posted it, but I don't know if I'm successful yet because I'm waiting on outside metrics. You never want that to be your metric for success because it's out of your control. You do not know how much money your podcast is going to make you. You do not know how many views your podcast is going to get, and you do not know how people are going to react. You can safely assume you might get in a pattern where you are really good at guessing how much money you make or how much views you get or how your family will take it. But one day it's not going to live up to that. And if your success is there, then your happiness, your whole life is going to be dragged down with those metrics of success, with those metrics of success that are outside your control. So this is what I suggest placing them with. Metrics of success for creative work should always be internal. That means by the time you hit post on your creative work, or you finish your painting, or you post your video, you should already know if you're successful. It doesn't matter what happens after that. And I would say the first thing is enjoy the process. Ask yourself, did I enjoy the process? This is a tricky one for me. I've really gotten in my head a lot with this one. And that's because sometimes I'll take up a new hobby like podcasting, or I'll be making videos, or I'll be making music, and I won't love every second of the process. And then I'll just get in my head and be like, is this my life calling? Is this my life calling? And I want to push away that notion, because there's no career, there's no life calling, there's no creative work where every single part of the process will be enjoyable. If that existed, then everyone would do the thing you're doing and there would be unlimited competition. But the reason certain podcasts succeed, the reason certain creative work succeeds, is because people have the discipline to do the work they don't enjoy. With that being said, the first metric of success is enjoying the process. So with all the things I just said about discipline and forcing yourself to do work, how do you know if you enjoyed the process? And to me, this is the easiest way to tell. Are you happy when Monday comes around? Because most people who have a job they don't like hate Monday. They hate Monday. It's like their worst nightmare, and they love Friday. If you hate Monday and you love Friday, you probably don't enjoy the process. That means you're counting the hours to when you stop doing what you're doing. You're counting that. And I don't want to just put this in, because a lot of creative work is not Monday 9 to 5, but it should be that same, it should be the same. It doesn't have to be Monday. It's when you first start your work, are you excited to do it, or is it dreading? And you're always going to have days, no matter what you do, where you're going to dread your work. But I'm telling you, I genuinely freaking love Mondays. I take Sundays off as Sabbath because I'm religious and I don't work on it. And I'm always looking forward. Like I get freaking hyped on Mondays because I get to go back doing what I love. That doesn't mean I enjoy every single part of the podcasting process, but I enjoy it enough that I look forward to Monday. So to me, that is the first metric of success that you should replace it with. Keep in mind, this is something you find out before posting rather than after posting. Money made is after posting. Enjoy the process is before posting. So let me go to the second metric of success. And this applies more specifically to creative work. So podcasting, YouTube, whatever. The second metric of success is, did it make me feel something? Not did it make my mom, my friends, the girl I like feel something. Did it make me feel something? So before you press publish on the podcast, on the music, on the post, on the painting, did it make me feel something? I read a quote in The Creative Act by Rick Rubin today. Highly recommend that book for creative work. It's so amazing. But I read a quote that said, The best way to predict if someone else will like something is if you like it yourself. That is the best metric. So it also said in that book, if you're making art that you don't enjoy, but you think will get good views, good approval, good feedback, then that is no longer art. That's commerce. And that's okay. If you're in the business of commerce, if I sell t-shirts or if I sell fruit, that doesn't mean I'm super passionate about selling fruit, but I can make a living that way and I can be happy. But we're talking about metrics for success for art. So number 2, made me feel something. Before you post, it should fulfill you. If you like it, you've already succeeded. You don't need to find your success in the views, the likes, the comments, because that comes after and it's out of your control. But if you like what you're doing, then find your success in that. Find your success in the fact that you like it. Number 3 is aligns with my values. To give you an example, for the past 4 years, I've vlogged on YouTube, and there's nothing, there is worse things, but sometimes it feels like there's nothing worse than looking back on a video where you're so not that person. And sometimes it's great. It's like memories, but you look back on a video where you're cussing and you're using slurs and you're like, dude, that's so not, it makes you cringe. It's the worst thing. It makes you cringe. But the other thing too that's really bad, and this is a really common problem, is when you make something for the approval of others. That you don't make something that aligns with your values. You make something that aligns with the values of the people you think will watch it. That's when you get TikTokers dancing for little girls on TikTok who every time they meet some guy their age, they're like embarrassed to share their work because they know it doesn't align with their values. That's when you get someone who's insecure about their job. They don't want to bring it up in conversation. They don't want to bring up their work in conversation because it doesn't align with their values. It just makes them money or gets approval of an audience. So this one's really simple to switch. It's, am I making something for society's approval or am I making it for my own approval? And you are always going to be more fulfilled when the creative work you do aligns with your own values. It's just the truth. And it's something that pays off a lot in the long run because you don't want to look back on something. And of course you're going to change. Your values are going to change. But you really don't want to look back on something and be like, damn, I did all this creative work. I made all this money. I got all this approval. And I'm looking back empty because that wasn't me. Like I was filling someone else's dream and it wasn't mine. Yeah, so that's it. It's 3 bad uncommon metrics for success are money made, number 1, views, likes, streams, etc. Number 2, approval / societal acceptance, number 3. 3 good metrics that are uncommon for success are enjoyed the process, number 1, made me feel something, number 2, aligns with my values, number 3. And since I'm a Christian, I really want to bring up this quote by Jesus. It says, "What good is it to gain the whole world and lose your soul?" And that the world, this podcast is about soul wealth. The world measures success by soul. The world measures success by wealth, money, achievements, likes, views, dream job, societal approval. You are always going to be happier when you measure by soul wealth, which is relationships and memories. Is my success in my relationships? Is my success in my memories? You're generally just going to be so much happier if it's in those soul wealth metrics rather than those wealth metrics. I'm sorry if I sounded a bit tired. It's 11 p.m. and this is something I feel super passionate about. It's kind of this podcast kind of encapsulates my whole why behind the podcast, which I'm actually realizing I might have not said in the beginning, which that makes me feel horrible, but I'll say it now. My why behind the podcast is that I want to inspire people to invest in soul wealth. So not the classic wealth, which is money, possessions, achievements, but soul wealth, which is investing in your relationships and creating memories. I end every podcast when I have a guest, I ask them, how do you want to be remembered when you die? In every solo episode, I want to answer the same question. How do I want to be remembered when I die? And it's always, for me, going to be in those soul wealth metrics. But today, I want to point out a specific action that I want to be remembered for. I want to be remembered for long phone calls with friends and family and strangers. I want to be remembered for long phone calls because here's why. Have you ever been, and I'm a victim of this. I'm a huge hypocrite. I'm a huge victim of this. I'm on the phone with my mom. My mom wants to talk. And the whole time I'm thinking, I can't wait to get off and do my work. Or I'm with a friend and I'm like, this conversation is really good, but I need to get my work done. But it's like, what is work? Like, your true value is in your relationships. Yet almost every time we're on the phone, actually, I don't want to speak for everyone. I've had this problem really bad where it's like you put your worth in work, which is bad. So it's like you're on the phone and you want to hang up and do more work, or you're on the phone. And recently I've tried to just embrace good conversations. I've had phone calls for the last couple months, multiple times a week. I have hour, 2 hour, 3 hour phone calls. And that is something I want to be remembered for, because that is me saying, our relationship, even on the phone, is more important than any work I could be doing right now. And I believe that that's how I want to be remembered. I don't want to be remembered as someone who hung up the phone and got more work done. Cool, I might make more money. I might have a better career, but my success is in my relationships and memories. It is not in my work. And yeah, that's what I want to leave you on. Thanks for watching.